According to reports, Cassie has given the government evidence, including videotapes, a USB drive, and Kim Porter's burner phone. I'm informed that Cassie was eventually persuaded to turn up the audio and video recordings that included footage of parties and other profitable events after having a lengthy talk with blank. I have to protect this individual. They're going through a lot right now. Cassie also had legal representation. Events that include a number of very influential and well-known individuals. And get this, she even turned over a Volkswagen and USB sticks that belonged to Kim Porter, including information that might implicate Diddy. Well, folks, it seems like Diddy has to start cleaning house. Because there are rumors circulating that the FBI is pursuing him, that he will soon receive a one-way jail sentence, and that all of this is because of Cassie. According to reports, some new accusations against him are purportedly more serious than we could have ever imagined, and this time, he won't be able to pay his way out of them like the civil lawsuits. I know something that many people are unaware of. You and Kim Porter had a sit-down just before she left us. If you guys thought that the situation was terrible before, you best get ready because things are going to get really worse. I swear that things are getting worse for Diddy, and every time we think that things couldn't possibly get worse for him, the universe makes things go into overdrive, the case gets harder, and things get worse. I know that Kim gave you some very wise advice, and I think that's why things are happening the way they are right now. Kim was wise, wasn't she? Cassie kept you alive and safe. Since Cassie's lawsuit was made public, Diddy hasn't had a complete week of peace, since there has been nonstop controversy and something that always comes up that makes him appear really awful. And Cassie's complaint, in which she said that Diddy had touched her the lawsuit, began by disclosing that he frequently punched, kicked, and stomped Miss Venter in her own home after she tried to leave him, resulting in broken lips and black eyes. He also forced her to engage in intimate acts with Mrs. whilst getting off on it and filming the encounters, demanding that Miss Venter carry his firearm in her purse to make her uncomfortable and show how dangerous he is. These are just a few of the many things he did to her. And forced Miss Venter to obtain illegal prescription drugs in order to feed his own addictions. She also provided multiple examples of how he touched her, such as the night she and Diddy went to a club, and Cassie struck up a conversation with the music manager. It wasn't like she was trying to sign with another man, but Diddy became so enraged that when they left the club, when the automobile got to Mr. Combs' house, Miss Venter shoved her into a corner and tried to flee by standing on her face. However, Mr. Combs pursued her and continued to kick her repeatedly in the face. He was quite violent, and she was taken to Mr. Combs' house, where she started to throw up as a result of the beatings, which frequently left her with bruises. Mr. Combs was so determined to conceal this that he went to great lengths to do so. According to the court record, Mr. Combs would severely beat Miss Venter several times a year for the following 10 years, leaving bruises on her body after each beating. Mr. Combs utilized his wealth and influence to plan concerted measures to conceal the proof of his mistreatment, even spending days at a time keeping Miss hidden in hotels while her injuries healed. And let's not even discuss the rumors that, according to the complaint, he used to abduct to prostitute her out. Cassie stated that the first time Mr. Combs hired a man, he took him to his Los Angeles house. The man wore a masquerade mask, and both Mr. Combs and Miss Venter consumed narcotics. In addition to the things he did to her, Miss Venter talked about how Mr. Combs attempted to eliminate his enemies, such as the occasion he had his people pull up on Suge night. Mr. Combs ordered Miss Venter to engage in sexual acts with this man while he observed them throughout the entire encounter. LS at various days. When he learned that Suge was nearby, the document stated, for instance, that one time when Mr. Combs and Miss Venter were having an affair at his house, one of his security personnel barged in and declared that Mr. Combs' longtime rival, Ish KN, had been spotted at Mel's Drive-In Diner in Los Angeles. Mr. Combs then got dressed, took several guns out of a safe, and fled his house to where he thought Mr. Knight was eating. At first, he refuted these accusations, stating the standard narrative about Cassie's desire for money. Afterward, his lawyer issued a statement in which he categorically denied these offensive and outrageous allegations. Even though Miss Venter withdrew her original threat, her demand of $30 million under the fear of publishing a harmful book about her relationship was categorically refused as clear blackmail. In an attempt to ruin Mr. Combs' reputation and obtain a payday, Miss Venter has now resorted to filing a lawsuit that is full of ludicrous and outrageous lies. He ended up feeling depressed over the lawsuit with Cassie in less than a day, and he probably believed that it would end the case and that everyone would move on after a few days. But the internet was insane, and he ended up playing himself even more as people began to come forward and expose Diddy for saying them as well. An intriguing thing about all 4 of the women who came out to file lawsuits against him was that they all told the same story about how Diddy got them high on drugs or drunk before allegedly shaming them. But that wasn't all. Diddy's longtime partner, Off Night, also came out to admit that not only were the accusations against him likely true, but Diddy had also gotten his hands on a lot more people, including his assistant at the time. Suge Knight claimed that Capricorn learned that Cassie had started dating rapper Kid Cudi following her breakup with Diddy, but Capricorn didn't divulge Cassie's secret. If you're wondering why Capricorn would stand in for Cassie and jeopardize her own safety, it's because Capricorn is Lauren London's sister. Lauren and Cassie were once friends, so I suppose Capricorn was just trying to watch out for her sister's friend. Because she knew what Diddy would do to Cassie, she was trying to protect her. It's not like he knew same time he beat Mother, what's a little girl named Cassie or whatever. He had an assistant named Capricorn, and he felt Capricorn C was keeping his low about whether or not Puffy. But when Cassie filed her lawsuit, Capricorn shaded Diddy, telling him to turn back and travel another route rather than follow the wicked or pursue their road. This really blew up in her face, and Sue was not capping anymore. Proverbs 4:14 states that in order for doors to be unlocked, you must be prepared to give up money altogether. 2011 was terrible, she said, exposing the industry for supporting Diddy's bad behavior and covering it up while she watched him harm women and others. She claimed that Black women end up being the sacrifice for the devil, and that for the last 11 years of my life, I had to deal with everyone's absurd devotion to the devil. She then alluded to the fact that he had removed Kim Porter because Kim opposed his way of life, sharing a quote from Kim that said, "They will skin you and wear you baby girl, then pretend they never wanted this skin. I pray that ends. I don't think highly of any of you. Can't keep your head down and pretend it's cool no more. Do better." The only person who didn't change was Kim. At this point, I'm feeling quite traumatized, and I hope it ends soon, since I never deserved this Kim Porter during this time after that. Capricorn moved on from Terrible Boy, but he was unaware of the beating until recently. Can you even imagine what it's like to be beaten up by your boss and then have him ruin your career after that allegedly well? At the time, he claimed that she had been fired because she had stolen from him. This effectively ended her career because no one hired her as an assistant. Sue also revealed the inner scope records that were used to pay Capricorn off so he wouldn't go to jail. An Osco person used the ENC check to pay her to settle so Di wouldn't go to jail. Golden rule, y'all. The accusations against Di kept getting worse and worse until, at last, he came out to refute them and told them to stop chasing him. He added, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy." In a statement, he broke his silence because he was innocent. "Sickening accusations have been made against me by people seeking quick money. To be clear, I did not do any of the horrible things that are being accused of. I will fight for the truth, for my family, and for my reputation. However, this has only made matters worse because more people have been pursuing him. This time, they are supposedly from the FBI. A few days ago, there was a blind item that surfaced that stated the FBI had allegedly opened an investigation into Diddy, and it was all because Cassie had given them some incriminating evidence about him. Now, this was all very interesting because after Cassie dropped her lawsuit, Jaguar entered the ring and made an interesting claim. Just before Kim Porter passed away, Cassie met in secret with her. Jaguars revealed that during that meeting, Kim gave her some incriminating information about Diddy, which Cassie then allegedly weaponized to escape Diddy's control. Cassie kept you safe and alive. Congratulations on surviving and for standing up. The blind item also claimed that Cassie took this classified information and handed it over to the FBI. This must have been something really bad, because the FBI has allegedly taken an interest in the case and is allegedly investigating Diddy. I know that you and Kim Porter had a sit-down shortly before she left us, and I know that Kim gave you some very good advice. I believe that this is why things are happening as they're happening now. She eventually gave up the audio recordings and videotapes that included footage of parties and other private gatherings featuring some pretty powerful and well-known people. What's more, she gave up Kim Porter's burner phone and USB drive that contained incriminating evidence against Diddy. Yes, she turned over these items to the federal authorities. Numerous stars, politicians, and artists are reportedly about to be EXP exposed and jailed for Hatton. Okay, hun, I know some of you are probably thinking that Kim Porter would never have revealed that information to Cassie and all that jazz. Nonetheless, consider it. Cassie was aware of the experiences Kim had with Diddy firsthand, and if Diddy became suspicious, he wouldn't consider Cassie to be a possible safe haven for Kim. However, it turns out that Diddy has been the subject of federal investigations before. Back in 2013, there were rumors that he was being looked into by the authorities for having an inappropriate relationship with young boys. According to reports, James Roseman, the music manager turned cocaine kingpin, was questioned about entertainers' sexual preferences during a debriefing session with federal investigators. Specifically, he was asked if Diddy Combs was having intimate relationships with underage boys. This information was part of a U.S. District Court filing where a prosecutor also inquired about the entertainer's intimate preferences, including but not limited to yes. There is a lot to digest here, and people have undoubtedly been commenting in a variety of ways, expressing gratitude for Cassie standing up and speaking out and revealing that, despite her repeated departures, his goons and contacts managed to track her down. Then she came back saying, "You can't rhyme or reason with a narcissist like him." I can only imagine the fear she lives with. She should have hit him for a quadruple what she got. Other comments claim that since all of these people helped the feds before making any accusations, the feds could actually surprise this man with a house search, and by the time they get anything, everything will have been destroyed aside from what Kim P said and whatever evidence Cassie left behind. And Diddy is being shielded by the wealthy and powerful because, if he falls, he'll sing like a dang canary. All of these predators are going to be exposed, and I'm here to defend the kids through it all. This drama is undoubtedly telling the story that it is intended to be telling, so please share your opinions with me and watch the next video.